Bookish Babes, and welcome to my book nook.
We are monsters. We give and we take.
Those that are new around here, the name's Rainy. I read all different types of books, primarily fantasy romance, so if you're interested in that, please like and subscribe to my channel down below. Today's video is a fun excitement, a fun TBR game of sorts, because I'm not participating in one readathon or two readathons. I'm participating in 3, maybe 4, because I just learned about a new one today, but I am not committing to that one in this video. And so what we are doing is we are participating in 1,000,001 readathons. And you're going to see all of my choices for them in this vlog, because this is going to be the most chaotic TBR video ever. So just buckle up, buddies. It's going to be a bumpy ride. Because not only are we going to do my TBR game, which is the one with the TBR, in case you don't know, based off of the Friends-themed game, which is going to be a super fun time. If you need to know the rules, then go watch the first video. I'll have a playlist underneath here, which, fun fact, not only do I have this Friends-themed trivia board, but I now have a Friends-themed Patreon, which I still can't believe I have a Patreon and that I have people subscribed to me. If you missed that announcement, I will definitely link to it underneath here. But yeah, there's all different types of tiers. We do all different sorts of stuff together. We're going to be doing reading sprints, having a book club, just... It's going to be such a fun, exciting time, exclusive extra content. So if you're interested, please join underneath here. We would love to have you. But we're doing this. And then we're also participating in TBR Harvest, which is run by my lovely friend Leandra from the TBR Zero. And hers is all about whittling down your TBR and getting rid of books that you already have on your shelves that you need to be reading. And so I'm doing a bingo board for, or not bingo board, I'm doing a board game, the board game one that she has, because she has several different options you could pull from. I'm doing the board for that, so you'll see rolls in that for this. I'm also participating in Spookopoly, which is hosted by Becca from Becca and the Books. And I love her Bookopoly edition, like Monopoly board, and she's doing a spooky version, so of course I had to participate in that, so you will see my rolls for that. And then I am participating in Fablen, run by Margaret from the Word Nerd. I can't remember the name of the team that I picked, but I picked whatever team had my lovely friend Leandra on it, and I can't remember the name of it right now. So that's the team that I'm doing. And I've already done all my rolls for that as well, as for like what my character is, so I can tell you what my character is going to be, and that helps with like getting bonus points for specific books. But I don't know any of the prompts, so I'm really just hoping and praying that all of these books will work for that. And all of this underneath, I'm secretly hoping will work for my Goodreads Romantasy goal, because I'm trying to read the top 10 books in Romantasy this year. However, there are books on there that I know are going to make it to the top 10 that Rainy has not read, like Crescent City 3, which means I have to finish all of ACOTAR and Throne of Glass and Crescent City in order to read that. And from Blood and Ash, like the 5th book in the series, and I'm on book 1. And you know, just books that I need to be more ahead of. So I'm just sending a hope and a prayer into the universe that I can get all of this done. But Rainy thrives on chaos. I thrive on chaos, okay? So it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. But with that being said, we're going to start with my TBR game. But before we do, we need to talk about, did I read the books that I said I was going to in August? Or not August, September. I'm sure you can probably guess I didn't. But I know I probably read some of them, and I'm just going to hope and pray that I did, or else I'm going to cry myself to sleep at night. So the first book I was supposed to read was Bride by Ali Hazelwood, and I did actually start that. I was planning on doing a whole werewolf shapeshifter vlog, and that kind of fell south, and I am in the middle of Bride. So I will count that as a success, because I will finish it by the end of this month. I was also supposed to read A Crown This Cold and Heavy, and once again, I'm pushing that off the TBR. I need to read it by the time Goodreads Romantasy rolls around, because book number 4 is for sure going to be on there, because book number 3 I'm pretty sure was on there last year, but I didn't read it yet. Roll number 3 was The Night Ends in Fire, and I did read this. I literally finished this like 3 days ago. I gave it a 3.5 stars. I actually really enjoyed it, which I'll explain more about it in my wrap-up, but I had a good time with this. Roll 4 was The Death of Vivek Oji, and if you remember back in my other TBR video, I told y'all I was probably not going to read that because I'm not in my litfic era, and then I actually got suggestions from y'all on my last TBR one as to what I should do with my historical fiction litfic one, and so I actually am going to tell you after I recall these books what I decided to do, because I did take one of your suggestions from there, so thank you if you gave me a suggestion. Number 5 was The Midnight Feast, and I did read this. I literally just finished this last night, and I gave this a 4.5 stars. I had the best time with this book. I just love Miss Lucy Foley. This gave off very strong guest list vibes. Also, yes, the book is not in here, but the dust jacket is there. So look, we're not doing too shabby. And then Rule 6 was The Four Winds, and of course I didn't read that because I'm not in my litfic era, and so like, are we really gonna judge me? I really don't care if you do, if we're being honest. Roll number 7 was for The Immortal Dark, and I am actually actually 33% of the way through this book right now. This is my current read. I'm having a fabulous time with this. It's dark academia and the vampire lore is very unique. I'm reading it for Tori's book club, so I will call this a success because I will have this finished by the end of the month, and I am vlogging this, so I'm having a great time with that. Other books that I put on the list were Sleuth It by Brom for Jan Agaton's Bloody Read, and I do have the audiobook I'm waiting on. I have like I think a week more before it'll get to me, so hopefully I will be able to read it by then. I had put Where the Dark Stands Still on my TBR, and yeah, I didn't get to that. Neither did I get to God Killer. Will I still read this one day? Yes. Is that day today? No. No, I didn't get to the Veiled Kingdom. Do I still want to read this? Yes. Yes, I do. I very much do. But I just haven't gotten to it yet. Honestly, that was one of my better successes, okay? And I know that's not saying a lot. And I know people are probably like, Rainy, why do you do this game if you don't read the books that you say you're gonna read? Because I'm a mood reader at heart, okay? Also, I read some very chunky books. I kind of got thrown off of everything because I got immersed into the world of Zodiac Academy, okay? It happens to the best of us. Okay, so I think for Wildcard, what we're going to try this month is someone had recommended putting it as YA. And I actually do have a lot of YA on my shelves, even though I'm not a YA girly pop. And so I figure I will try that. And if that's not working out, then I'm going to do the next rec that I got, which is where it was considered just deciding the genre based off of whatever the prompt decides. So like if the prompt like leans heavily more towards thriller or towards fantasy, just letting it guide me wherever the prompt takes me, which I kind of appreciate that. And now the more that I'm talking about that, that might be the route we go. But we're going to try to stick with YA first. Okay, on to rule number 1. So 20 is a red, which means that it can be a wild card, basically a trending book, a book that I need to put on my TBR, God bless, and it's in the Fears and Pet Peeves, so it has to be a new author. And so the prompt that I pulled for that is to read a book that everyone has read but me. So basically a popular book from a new to me author. And I think I know what I'm going to pick. I had to choose a book that everyone has read but me that was a new to me author. And so I went with Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mayer because I know that everybody was reading this last year. Or not last year. Yeah, last year. And the second one just came out, and this got second place in the romantasy category last year, which means for sure that the second one, which came out recently, is going to be on that list, and so I need to read this. I'm not that excited about it because I've heard that it really is more cozy fantasy, and we know I'm not a cozy fantasy girly, but unfortunately, I'm gonna have to read this. But it's fine. It's only 300 pages. I think I can make it through. So 34 is also from Fears and Pet Peeves, which means it has to be a new to me author, but it was the old historical lit fiction one. So now it's going to be either YA or whatever the prompt draws me towards. Prompt I ended up getting for that is to read a book with a face on the cover. For YA. Let me think on that. So I was going to try to do, it had to have a face on the cover, and I was going to go, it had to be a new to me author, and I was going to go the YA route, but I wasn't really finding anything that I had, honestly. So then I went with a book that the prompt led me to, and it worked out really well because it is my Tortured Readers Book Club book selection for October, and that is Bonded by Thorns by Elizabeth Helen. So I'm very excited that I was able to get this on the list. I know that it is a reverse harem with 4 men, 1 girl, and I just must say the Fairy Loot edition, pretty stunning. I'm kind of obsessed. So I'm very excited to get to this. I'm sure it's going to be a fun, smutty time, and it is the beginning of a series, so love that for me. On to roll 3. So 41 is under It's All Relative, which typically means like a book that I need to put on my TBR, and it's green. So it needs to be a thriller, which is fine for spooky season. And my fun prompt for it is to read a book with a great first line. Interesting. Day, I'm going to remember to press record before I talk. That day's not today. Okay, so book number 3 had to be a thriller or horror that I needed to read, and it had to have a great first line. And I may have fudged the great first line only because I don't read thrillers and horrors, but this book I'm reading. And that's So Thirsty by Rachel Harrison. I've read every single book that she's written. I am obsessed with her. I love her so very much. So I will be reading this. Is the first line great? No. But the second one's pretty good, so we're gonna go with it. And it says, sunlight severs me from sleep. I grasp at a fading dream, catch its last breath, quiet and wispy as a cobweb. And I will take that because I need to read this book. So 37 is also under It's All Relative, which means it has to be another book that I need to put on my TBR, ideally, or a trending book or whatever it is. And it's 37 was a romance, so it's pink. So let's see what the prompt says. All right, the prompt I got is to read a book that I know nothing about. That might be a little difficult. Okay, so it was a book that I know nothing about, and it had to be a romance. And I might have fudged this for fantasy romance because I figured this book is probably falling more on the romance than is the fantasy, but I could be wrong. But we're going to do it anyway. And that is Throne of the Fallen by Carrie Maniscalco, because the first one was on the top 10 of Girl to Read Fantasy last year, so I assume that since the new one just came out, that the second one will be on, and so I need to read it. And I honestly don't know what it's about, and I'm kind of scared going into it because I did not love Kingdom of the Wicked, which is, I think, a spin-off series. Like the first book, didn't like it, and I DNF'd the rest of the series. So I don't know if that holds good hope for me, but we're gonna try our best anyway. On to roll 5. 33 is ancient history, which means it has to be an author that I've read from before, and it's blue for fantasy. And it's read a popular book talk book. I most def can do that. So book 5 has to be an author that I've read from before, and it has to be a popular book talk book, and it has to be fantasy. And so I'm going with the second book from the Of Blood and Ash series, Kingdom of Flesh and Fire. Even though I honestly need to reread From Blood and Ash, but I'm probably just going to do a recap of that because I don't have time. But like I said, it's all about Goodreads romantasy and getting caught up, okay? So we're reading the second book. Do I really remember what it's all about? No. I know there's a maiden and she has to go on some quest, like some ritual that she doesn't want to do. I'm not very good at describing this, but you know what? It's fine. But I know that this book is popular still. And so we're going to go with it. On to roll 6. 14 is from literature, which means it has to be part of a series, and it's orange, which means it would be either YA or whatever the prompt leads me to. And I got read a book with a one-word title. I needed to read a book in a series that is a one-word title, and ideally it would have been YA. And so I'm going to go with Lightlark by Alex Astor. I actually had no interest in reading this book until Emmy from What Emmy Reads said, she's basically like ranted and raved about this. And so I figured I would try it out and see if I like it. And it says, every 100 years, the island of Lightlark appears for only 100 days to host a deadly game where the rulers of 6 realms fight to break their curses and win unparalleled power. Each ruler has something to hide. Each curse is uniquely wicked. To break them and save themselves and their realms, one ruler must die. To survive, Isla Crown must lie, cheat, and betray, even as love complicates everything. Honestly, that sounds good. I hope I really enjoy this. On to the lightning round. All right, we know the drill. I have to read these 5 questions. I have to get 3 out of 5 right within 30 seconds, or I have to roll the dice and see what lightning nightmare prompt I get. 3, 2, 1, action! Which friend would say that communism was a theory that didn't pan out? Ross. What does weenus stand for? Oh, isn't it your elbow? I don't know. Which friend is most likely to use the acronym weenus? Why am I blanking on this? I don't know. Oh, wait, is that Chandler? Chandler for number 3. Let's put 3. How many long-stemmed roses did Ross send Emily? 75? How did Ross find out about Monica and Chandler dating? No. I know the answer to that. Please let me have it. I know, because he saw them doing it through the window. Joey. Weekly estimated net usage statements. I'm not gonna lie. As soon as I said Chandler for number 3, I knew that it was a Chandler thing. 72, I guessed 75. It was Joey for the first one, for communism. And then he saw them having sex from his apartment. So if I had said, well, I didn't know that it was weekly. Frackin'! Ah! It's fine. Everything's fine. We're gonna do another roll. So 45 is fears and pet peeves. There needs to be a new to me author, and it can be any book that I choose, essentially. And we gotta read a book with an ugly cover. And of course we got green, which meant we had to have another roll, which means that it has to be a new to me author with an ugly cover, and it can be any genre. All right, I'm gonna go with this, even though this wasn't on it last year, but that's only because a new book didn't come out that year, but a new book came out this year, so I assume it could be on it, and it's A Touch of Darkness by Scarlett St. Clair. I don't actually think this is the prettiest cover. I think it's kind of ugly, if we're being honest. I just know that this is a Hades and Persephone's retelling. I have never really been itching to read this, so I've only picked up the first one, but now I guess I'm gonna have to read it, so it's fine. I'm not the most excited to read this. And so this is my stack minus the From Blood and Ash book and one other book that I'm blanking on right now, but it's not that chunky so far. Thank God. And thank God that we were able to include books that I actually needed to read for Goodreads Romantasy. But now we're going to move into the TBR Harvest portion of this. And it's a bumpy ride. All right, well, obviously I'm trying to get all of the black cats, which means if I pass the black cat and I don't land on it, I have to somehow make the cat prompt also work for the prompt that I got. Okay, here we go. All right, we're trying this again because I've only been supposed to be rolling 1 dice this whole time. So we're gonna try this again. 2, that's great. And we're starting with a book outside of my comfort zone. Woo! Not excited for that. I feel like I'm cheating with this one, but you know, we're just gonna go with it. I had to put a book that is outside of my comfort zone. And I'm putting ACOWAR. Now, before you at me, I'm not particularly obsessed with ACOTAR. Like, I think it's fine, okay? But that book is like over 600 pages. It's intimidating. I'm only reading it because otherwise it'll spoil things in Crescent City. And so I need to read it. Do I want to read it? No, not necessarily. So it is outside of my comfort zone because I have no desire to read it whatsoever, but we're gonna have to. So I guess it's made its way onto my October TBR. All right, on to the next roll. All right, on to roll number 2. A 6. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And yay, I get to go back 3 spaces. Isn't that lovely? So I need a spooky book. And since I passed the first black cat, it has to be a mostly black cover, like over 51%. Can do. Okay, so the next roll that I had to be spooky. It had to be a spooky book, but it also had to have a mainly black cover because we're getting the first black cat. And so I went with Slewfoot because I know I'm not going to get to this in September, but I can get to it in October. I've been wanting to read this for the longest time. I have a feeling that it's going to be a book that I'm going to love, and I've heard the audiobook is really, really cool and really spooky, so we're definitely going to be getting to this finally. Let's keep rolling. On to roll number 3. 4. Oop. 1, 2, 3, 4. A TBR backlist read, but it also, I passed a cat, so it has to have C, A, and T in the title, but the title only. Okay. All right, the next one is to read a TBR backlist read with C, A, and T in the title cover. That was another one that had to do with the cat. And because I'm filming this one and did this after my first challenge, I'm able to double dip. Thank Jesus. And we're going to do A Touch of Darkness by Scarlett St. Clair because it has C, A, and T, and I don't need to add more books to this TBR. We need to keep the TBR low so that I can add books for Goodreads Romantasy when I feel like it. So, thank God for that. On to the next roll. All right, on to roll number 4. A 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But in order to do this, your next read, if you cut through this, include green and yellow on the cover. Even a drop will do. So it has to be that. It has to be an autumnal cover. And it has to have a cat in the book. Like, a character. Oh, dear God. Okay, the next book I know that I have, but I don't know where it is up there. But it needed to be an autumnal cover that had green and yellow on it and a cat character. Now, do I think I'm actually going to read this? No. But am I going to try my best? Yes, because it's not that long, and it is The Traveling Cat Chronicles. I know nothing about this book. I don't even know why I ever picked up this book because I don't think it's a book I'm going to enjoy. Because that's just, I'm not a cozy cat character book person. Like, I want to be, but I'm not. But it fits, it checks all the boxes. And it was one of the only ones that checked all the boxes. This was a very difficult prompt because I skipped over the cornfield, so I had to add green and yellow. And I had to have a cat character to collect the black cat, so we're gonna try our darndest. As my own cat is trying to get onto the board, my own black cat. Say hello to the video, Jasper. Okay, move, dude. On to roll number 5. Are you joking me? A 1? A cryptid read. And then we rolled a whopping 1 and moved over to cryptid read. And thank God that when I typed in cryptid reads on Goodreads, the first one that popped up was a novella that I own, and that is Below by Laurel Hightower, which is about Mothman. So I can get behind that. It'll be a spooky read for October. I think, oh yeah, it's also on my every seasonal spooky challenge. Thank God. So I'm knocking 2 birds with 1 stone. So I will be reading Below. I'm excited. I think it's about a girl that helps someone at like a rest stop or something, and then he gets taken and she has to decide what will she do. Will she save the stranger's life or just keep going? I could be completely wrong, but Mothman is in the picture at some point in time. On to roll 6. All right, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it has to be a book involving food, but also have a cat on the cover. Oh gosh, okay. Okay, we're gonna go with a romance that I found that is short and I've actually heard good things about. So I'm gonna put it on here. Do I think that this is the book that I need to be reading? No, but I literally don't have that many books that have cats on the cover. Because like I said, I'm not a cozy romantic girly or cozy whatever cat girly. So we're gonna do Sweet Hand by N.G. Peltier, which apparently I can't remember exactly what this is about, but I know that Books and Lala read it and it had food and it has a cute little calico cat on the cover. So you know what? We're gonna go with this. And on to the, hopefully, last roll. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Choose any prompt on the board, but it has to have witchy vibes. Okay. Let's pick repeat author, because I need that with witchy vibes. Okay. And then I chose a repeat author that gives witchy vibes. Even though this has vampires in it, it gives witchy vibes. That's witchy times, and we're gonna fudge it. And that's So Thirsty by Rachel Harrison. Thank freaking Jesus I could make this work double time as well, because I'm so excited to read this, and I just can't. I can't add more books. I can't add more books. I can't add more books. And then there's not a prompt for trick or treat, so like I assume it just means I made it to the end of the board, which like I'll roll, but I made it to the end, so. Woo, I did it. Oh yeah, I did it. Thank God I was able to combine some books. Now we're gonna move on to the Spookopoly portion. Okay, friends. I may have printed out the wrong ones. I meant to print out the tiny ones, so they don't fit. But they're gonna go right there, okay? So I have my chance cards, which I wrote 16 different books that I honestly needed to read. I didn't really put books that I didn't need to read because I don't have time for that with all the Goodreads romantasy books I'm trying to get to. And then these ones are random prompts. Also tried to help myself out, but did a couple that were crazy. I'm going to roll. Our goal is to get around the board one time. That is what I have decided. I would love to get around the board as quickly as possible. And I would love to be able to use books that I actually need to read. However, I'm a little scared. So here we go. Roll number 1. And we're not starting off great with a freaking 6. Oh, it might help if I had a thing to move around. Oh, look, I found one. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And so that is Past. So I landed on Past, which apparently is a book that I should have already read or has been on a past TBR. That should not be that hard to come up with. Okay, so the first book that I have to read for Spookopoly has to be a book that I'm already supposed to read / past TBR. And so I put A Crown, This Fierce and Empty by Stacey Stark, because I really do need to finish this so that I can read the 4th book in preparation for Goodreads Romantasy, because I just have a feeling that this will be on there, hopefully. If it's not, then I'm just loving these anyway, and they're a good popcorn read, but I need to read it, so it needs to happen. All right, on to roll number 2. An 8. Okay, that's not terrible. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which means we have Mr. Scream, which apparently means if you scream, he will find you. Read a book with a sound-related word. Okay. We're going to put a book on here that I've been wanting to read because a sound-related word. You say oath, like you're saying an oath, you're making a sound, right? So we're going to go with The Crown of Oaths and Curses by J. Bree, because I've been meaning to read this for a hot minute. And I was going to buddy read this with a certain person, but I don't think I am anymore. And I can't say why. But I'm still going to be reading this. And I just know that it is a witch hunter, very, very, very enemies to lovers romance. So I could not be more excited for it. On to roll number 3. An 8. Okay. All right. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Landed on a chance card. Whatever book this is, I have to add to my TBR. Oh, dear God. ACOWAR. I did need to read this.
but oh dear God.
Then I got a chance card, and it just so happened that the card that I drew was for ACOWAR, which I already have to read for my own TBR game. So we're reading ACOWAR 100%. We knew that was happening.
All right, roll number 4. That was the worst roll of my life. 1, 2, 3. Oh dear God. Ghost Tour is read a book with a historical element. This does not have to be historical fiction. It could be a book inspired by history, but not actually set in the past, like Red Rising and The Will of the Many are inspired by the Roman Empire. Well, that's unfortunate because I literally just read The Night Ends with Fire. All right.
We're reading a book with a historical element, and we're going to go with one that she honestly put on the list because I couldn't think of other ones, and I've been meaning to read this, and I just haven't, and that's Red Rising. I want to know what all the hype is about. I want to know if this is the book that I should be Live, Laugh, Loving for, but I'm scared that it's not going to be easy for me to understand because I already read like 10% of it and then gave up at the time. I'm willing to try again, but I'm scared.
Under rule number 5. Okay, a 9. We're cooking with gas. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Stabby. Stabby says the bloodier side of spooky season, true crime thrillers and grim dark fantasy would fit very well for this prompt.
The next one needed to be either true crime thriller or grim dark fantasy, and so I'm going to put a book that I've been meaning to read because I want to finish all of Jennifer Hillier's backlist, and that is The Butcher, which is also on my every season or my seasonal spooky challenge TBR by Cassidy, and so I want to read this. All I know is it is about a serial killer named The Butcher, and I think 20 years go by and things are happening again, and they're wondering if The Butcher is back or something like that. But I'm really excited to read it because, like I said, I've not given any book of hers less than a 4 stars, so like, she's pretty great to me.
On to rule 6. Can I make it across the finish line and be done rolling? 7, I think. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you're joking. I have to read the lowest rated book on my TBR. I'm scared.
And then we ended really terribly with reading the lowest rated book on my TBR, and I'm actually very sad about this because it's an Illumicrate book that I have in a special edition of, and it's gorgeous, and that's Fablen Folk by Eliza Chan. I was not expecting this to be the lowest rated book. It has like a 3.2, and it's a beautiful book. I'm just like, this is so bad. I'm scared. Why does everyone think this is so bad? I was looking forward to read this. It has sirens in it, for crying out loud. But alas, it must be read. And that is my TBR for Spookopoly. Did I need to read most of these books? No. I feel like it has done me dirty. Done me dirty. With that, we're going to finish out with any books that I still think I'm going to add to this list. Yes, crazy me is still adding books. First, we already talked that I'm reading Bonded by Thorns for our October book club selection for the Tortured Readers Book Club. You can always join at any time. The link to the Discord is down below underneath this video. We would love to have you join us. So that is what we're reading. I don't know what I'm reading for Emmy Reads Book Club or for Tori Reads Book Club because they haven't put them yet. So I assume I'll be reading those, but I don't know what they're going to be yet. I do know that I'm currently in the middle of my reread and annotating of Serpent in the Wings of Night, and yes, you better believe there's a vlog happening for that. There's 2 vlogs, actually. I'm doing a rereading one and also tacking on Ashes of the Starcursed King, because no, I have not read that yet, because I just haven't wanted the series to be over yet. And yes, do I own like 4 editions and I'm getting 2 more? Yes, it's fine. But I'm also doing an Annotate With Me video, and so I'm using this book for the Annotate With Me portion because I'm obsessed with this book, and I figured that would be a great thing to do. So I will be adding this and Ashes of the Starcursed King, and I have to because the 3rd book comes out in November, and I am going to be hosting reading sprints that day. I have taken off work for that. Yes, I am that crazy. Okay? Okay. And if there are other book clubs I'm in or buddy reads that I said I would do, I am still doing them, friends. But I'm not going to talk about them now because we've been here 5,000 years. Been here 5,000 years. So if you got to the end of this, let's put a sword emoji because I'm sure there are swords used in the Crown of Oaths and Curses, and that is the first thing that I saw. And like I said, if you want more from me, you can join my Patreon down below. You can join my book club down below. You can support me, follow me on Instagram, TikTok, social media. They're all Rainy Blue Reads. So if you liked what you saw here, then come hang out with me for a little bit longer. And with that, I will see you guys in a video very soon. Bye. Editing Rainy here. Sorry, the hair is a mess to say because I forgot already. Because that's brand new to me that I have a Patreon. If you joined my Patreon, I'm so thankful to you for supporting me and being so fabulous. So I want to thank Tana, Katie, Steph, Leandra, Alicia, Kirsten, Sarah, Laura, Kelsey, and Brittany. I thank you all so very much. You are so fabulous. I love you. And thanks for, like, taking a chance on me and being a supporter of my Patreon. And it's never too late to join for others, because we're gonna have a blast. And with that, I'll see you guys in a video soon. Bye.